along with the Exo content like that, you come to the user groups forums to mix and mingle with other people and experts to be talking to you and presenting stuff like that, which is great. But also it's nice to hear from other customers that have had a lot of success with some of the things they've done in the very same product. And it gives us the ability to ask ourselves, could that be useful for us? Gee whiz, I didn't know that. So our next segment is a customer success story. And I spoke to Mark from Seeker earlier. So this is an interview we put on file. And here it is. We want to Mark wants to tell you all about what they've done with Exo and what they're enjoying.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's terrific. Now, a very exciting segment coming up now as we're going to talk to a very successful customer that is using Exo, and we're going to hear some great things about how they've got so much more out of the product. It's my pleasure to welcome Mark Wheely from Seeker. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Grant. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, wonderful, and we appreciate it. Now, look, we're just going to ask you a few questions about what you've got out of your solution. And so, look, in the first instance, just tell us a little bit about Seeker, and give the audience a bit of an idea of who you are, what you do.
Company was formed in 1967. We're an importer of sewer and drain cleaning equipment, specialised in probably pipeline robotics, which is the biggest part of our business. And in 2009, we moved to Exo, mainly for their serviceable units. We service a lot of equipment, which we were originally doing in Excel, and it just became a growing giant the more we sold. And that was the main thing that brought me to Exo back in 2009 was the serviceable units. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know when for businesses like yours, when Exo's job costing and serviceable units get going together and start singing and dancing, it is really an effective product and gets rid of that manual stuff. So that's great to hear that you did that for that reason. So that's probably about 12 years of using Exo. Now, tell us a bit about how you've evolved with the product over that time. You've obviously made a lot of improvements. So just give us a little walk through that journey.
Well, from the job costing point of view, that's worked great, and it's worked great ever since we put it on, and it just continues to grow, and we've put more products on it. In regards to other implementations we've done, obviously, with the world the way it is, obviously we have an e-commerce platform, which we did some integrations with Exo, so we can have live stock levels on our website, to our SKUs and things. We also did an integration with another software, which was Smart Freight, which is throwing consignment notes back and forth between the two programs. And our most recent one, which we've probably had for about, I'd say, 2 to 3 years now, is a barcoding system called Exo. So we've barcoded all our stock. So we've basically, not completely, but we've gone paperless in the warehouse to a certain extent. And Exo, Smart Freight, and Exo all talk to one another. Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds fantastic. Now we know that Exo is, when it sings and dances, really good product, and you take some very big leaps forward with it. We know it's great to hear that you're happy with that. Now, Smart Freight, obviously, so the consignments up and down to the freighting companies, that automation, again, you know, those in the audience that are using that will go, yep, that's been a great leap forward. The other thing, though, that we all know that there's nothing better than adding a fantastic reporting or business analytics tool to Exo, and I believe you've got Focus. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, and I don't think I'm anyone surprising, but the Exo reports are a little lack of. So we moved Focus probably 18 months, 2 years ago. We first moved just to straight sales reports, which are fantastic, and they are just instant up until sales from midnight last night, I think it reports on. We have also implemented some stock in there as well. And I'm actually looking at, currently I'm actually just got a quote on purchasing as well, just to give me some purchasing analytics. Haven't moved into that yet, but still investigating that. But yeah, the reporting side of it is phenomenal.
Oh, it's terrific.
And it is instant in a matter of seconds. Yeah.
I'm really smiling because I know the the Exo product, as you say, reporting in its native sense can be, can provide reports, but it's wonderful to hear.
Exo gives a great P&L report.
Yeah, nice one, yes. And also the other thing about Focus, of course, is that any device anywhere in the world from any of your people for the data they need at that time. And that's one of its differentiators where, as you say, as up to last night, you could be anywhere on the planet and you've got the best reports right there in your hand. So, yeah, agreed. It's nice to hear that.
My salespeople, you can be visiting a customer and you can look up before you walk in what they've spent, what they've been buying, literally in seconds while you're in front of them from anywhere, as you said, anywhere in the country. Yeah.
And most customers must feel that that's a very good customer service level that your company's providing them. And it's all through that information and the empowerment. Yeah, terrific. Yeah. All right. Now, another question I have for you is, you've done a lot already and you've taken Exo through that time into different areas and got integrations in the smart freight and Focus we just spoke about. Wonderful. What have you got planned for the future with your Exo from here?
One product which we have sort of signed up for, but due to lack of people and time, haven't really implemented this, but it is on our program, is a thing which is a Kilimanjaro product, I believe, called Dealers Online, which is basically a web, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'll explain Kilimanjaro software, but I believe it's a website which is actually built off the back of the ERP. Our clients will be able to log in, they'll actually see their invoices, their orders, what we have on stock, what we've got coming, their discount structures, pricing, whatever we want to put in there, basically. It's like an online shop, but and we feel that's going to be a real game changer in our space because no one else is doing it in our space anyway.
That is fantastic. And the sort of the description you give that, I guess, is sort of self-service for your customers, so they can come and get it when they need it rather than have to request whatever it may be, but also place those orders, make their own.
Yeah, and it does take the noise away from those, I would say, unnecessary phone calls just for restocking to my salespeople, where salespeople can concentrate on actual, business development and just restocking those consumable items that we sell a lot of. Yeah.
Exactly. And it arrives straight in your system as soon as they've done your data punching for you, you've got yourself an order.
It's all integrated together.
Yeah. And of course they've chosen, so they're making their conscious decision of what they are selecting, and as you say, the noise and also the in-between mistakes that can be made at time to time with verbal communications and so on. So that's terrific. So the future is looking brighter than ever, and it sounds like you're really happy with the things you have done with Exo, and it's great to hear that, Mark, and I hope our audience have picked up a few things some of them may be able to look at and go, gee, I wouldn't mind knowing more about that. So I'd really like to thank you so much for helping us here today with User Groups on your Exo product, and we wish yourself and Seeker all the best going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Cheers. Bye.
Well, here's an exciting piece for us. Another customer on Exo that is going to talk about their experience using Exo, and it's such a wonderful privilege to welcome you, Andrea Collier from OBEX. Welcome.
Thank you, Grant.
And Andrea is the business systems analyst in OBEX, and therefore all the problems end up at her desk, of course, on anything IT, probably. And so I welcome you, as I say, and the audience are really looking forward to hearing about your particular Exo, which seems to do a lot of things, and it's got a lot of records and data, and you've been using it for a long time. So, Andrea, would you like to tell us about OBEX, please?
All right. Well, OBEX, we're a medical company. Our purpose is really to meet the needs of healthcare professionals, delivering the best diagnosis they can for their patients. So what we do, we specialise in bringing in minimally invasive, consumable, implantable devices, surgical instruments and other equipment. And we also provide clinical education, or provide facility for clinical education with our suppliers and with the healthcare professionals.
Brilliant. Okay, excellent. And in terms of Exo, at every good, strong business that Exo has, there's a strong Exo. Does that make sense? Tell us about the role that Exo plays for OBEX
Right. Well, Exo, we've had Exo since the early 2000s, when it was ExoNet, and in various guises over the years. We've stuck with that. It's a strong system. It keeps our data. It's very important for healthcare data to be kept secure. We maintain. We need to be able to track and trace products. Batch quantities, very, very important that way, and also to be able to report for various government departments, our suppliers and our customers' needs as well. So it's been a great tool for that, and still is.
Done well, that's great. And so then so we're talking to our Exo audience here at User Groups, the interest really for these sort of stories is the things that you're doing that may not be just sending a data invoice. Of course, Exo does that. So what are the special things that it's doing in and around or outside integrations and things, so other products and innovations you put into the system?
Right. Well, I guess one of the earliest ones that we've been playing with for a number of years is EDI. So one of our largest suppliers, originally the warehouse team, it would take for the purchase order, it was pages and pages and pages of data that they would key in by hand, or an Exo's obviously made that a lot easier. But now we have an EDI system. It talks direct with our supplier. They get the shipment comes within about a week. Even in COVID times, we've had a few blips, but now back to within a week turnaround. What would take probably 1 to 2 days to do a manual inwards receipt now takes a matter of minutes. Just upload and the boys spot check things and put it away. So complete game changer for them.
Yes.
What other things? That's probably the biggest one that we've actually got in and we've been running for a number of years. But we've got some other data import and export for reporting, which is also really good. Just seamlessly happens in the background. We don't even know it's going on. So that's pretty cool too.
That's amazing. And it sort of speaks to the fact that Exo, almost anything's possible that in terms of workflows and data in and out. Exo, I always say that Exo's middle name is integration, because it's welcoming, the other supporting products that you use, supplier relationships, your customer relationships, and you've obviously rattled it from time to time and given it more and more of that, or asked for more and more of that. And I understand part of that, one of those things also is the warehouse barcoding system. So use the RIC add-on for barcoding, goods receipt, dispatch and picking and things. That's running well?
That's not too bad. We've had that since 2013. It was great when we put it in, and we're going through a process of updating it now and upgrading it. We've changed significantly over the past few years. Just that our business has changed, the types of products we sell. It's forever growing, and our needs, the volumes that we're having are getting bigger and bigger. So that's something we're looking forward to. No, we're very happy with the RIC Group's performance there.
Oh, that's wonderful. And as always, you keep, as I say, rattling and getting more of it. You also have an impending accounts payable automation system coming your way for Exo?
Absolutely. Look, we've been wanting this for many years now, and it has been many years. We are going with Dataline, who has got the API. So I'm talking technical talk now that is beyond my knowledge, but it's got the API connectors, so it's made the job quite seamless and easy. So we're right in the middle of implementing that now, and we're looking forward to getting something. We've got a target of 95% automation. So that's a very lofty target, but we've got a parent company that's challenging us to be more automated. So we're up for that challenge.
Good on you. And look, so therefore, am I hearing that you've got literally hundreds or even thousands of supplier invoices that have been punched by humans up to this point, and 95% of that will go away with Dataline?
That's right. Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, that's an amazing step up in efficiency, and 95% is a good target. Well, why not go for 100? I mean, if you can get to 95, why not? Yeah, no, that's great. The other thing, finally, I guess, you said early 2000s, Exonet. Exonet or Exo has been with us for about 20 years, or just about 20 years now. So you're obviously very early. Through that time, a lot of data, a lot of growth. You did talk about more and more locations, more and more stock data, obviously. There's a case for sort of optimizing Exo for big databases that are long in the tooth, even though it's a pretty amazing system in that how much data's in there and it keeps performing. But you've recently done some optimization work on it and finding some real efficiencies. Your consultancy did that for you.
We have indeed. We were finding we were grinding to a halt. You could set something running and go away and make a cup of tea and come back. So the team were quite frustrated and fatigued, and that was during COVID as well. So quite a challenge for them. We engaged Kilimanjaro, and we also got our other network IT support people, got them in a room or virtual room, and started the kickoff to what we call a deep dive look at all of our processes. And so part of that, the initial phase was the optimization of the database, and just significant changes. Running forecasting took from 40 minutes down to mere seconds. So that was worthwhile doing, and we're still doing it. We've only skimmed the surface with what we want to do.
Oh, that is really good. So you would encourage some of those bigger database or clients using the bigger databases to just get those people in the room.
Yes.
Get them to do the deep dive, see what's possible.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Definitely worth it. And for the cost of the temptation will be, I want to go to the cloud. I want to try another product. I want to go SAP. That's not always the right answer. This was fast, and it gave us efficiencies very quickly and at an extremely reasonable price. So well worth doing. Kilimanjaro, our support people for Exo, and they have been just life-changing for us. So look, our particular consultant, Sam, he's always there at ridiculous times of the night and weekends when I come up with these silly ideas. And so the responses have always been wonderful and helpful, and he's dragged us a long way into this century. And so I would recommend that if anyone's wanting to do optimization, get in touch with your provider and go for it. Yeah.
Oh, Andrea, well done. Well, we want to say well done. I mean, isn't it good that you looked at your consultancy, you asked the questions, you got the people in the room, because so often the answers are there. The answer's often yes. Doesn't necessarily have to break the bank either. It's just a question of addressing it rather than walking off and thinking, I need a new system. There's so many things that can be done. So that's great to hear. So look, just to finish, I mean, you're getting data line just about there. That's going to be a lifesaver for efficiency, and that's wonderful to hear that. What else in the future do you think you might ask yourselves for as you go forward with Exo?
Look, I've got all sorts of ideas, which probably drives our Chief Operations Officer quite mad. But look, I'd like to automate as much as we can of the very simple tasks that are still being done manually. Things like our reporting. We've got a UK-based parent company, and there's a lot of complexity in controls and reporting. I can't think of anything more mind-numbing than having to manually go in and run a report every day and do something with it. So hoping to embrace probably with something like a Power BI as the output, but using the analytics from Exo. They're already in there.
Exactly.
It's just getting that out. And at the moment, I use Power Queries, and they're difficult for other people to use. So using the analytics that's what I want to go for, so that people can just help themselves with the information right there when they need it.
And it's in real time. No, that is fantastic. And I think that just to get the right people in the room, ask what's there, shake them up, ask your consultancy, hey, I want this. The answers are all there, and all the things you've just described about where you want to go. you know, I know of plenty of options and stuff. So as you do, so that's great news, and it's really wonderful to have had you here at User Groups today and talking about your particular EXO. We really appreciate that, and thanks for giving your time to us and letting us know what you're doing. And onwards and upwards for you. And again, User Groups and our audience, really thank you for that. Much appreciated, and all the best. See you soon.
Thanks, Grant.
Well, wasn't it truly fantastic? And yeah, I hope that that's useful for you, or some of you that can have those issues or big databases that need a little bit of attention. That was a really good success story, and Andrea was wonderful, and thanks to her. I've just noticed that wardrobe have ruined my continuity with the shirt I was wearing in that video and what I've got here. Can you get me someone from wardrobe, guys, please? This is not on. Unacceptable. Manager, yeah, manager's good. So I'm just going to get the manager of wardrobe here. We'll sort it out as soon as we can. So speaking of success stories, you know, now we've got some live discussions with Brent Blumberg and TJ van der Horst, who look after many EXO clients. And of course, they bring back from the field similar stories to what Andrea just gave us. And they're going to walk us through a few other things that hopefully you'll get some tips and tricks, some ideas and inspiration, innovation being today's theme. Over to you, TJ and Brent. Welcome.
Hi, Grant. Thank you. And it's I was just thinking it was a very impressive, very quick wardrobe change. So it was quite good, and it's really good to see Andrea again. And you know, when we had the user groups in Auckland, it was really nice to see her in person as well. And just some of the stories, it's been fantastic. So as from the client success stories, we've got a couple. So the first one is ESG. Now ESG is quite an interesting story. They started out actually as reselling automotive parts in the early 20th century, and they've grown significantly. And now they're actually doing hygiene supply business across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. And they had a few challenges. One of the challenges, of course, when you're selling stuff is you want to know what you're selling and when you're selling and how you're doing. So one of the challenges they had was the access to the sale reports. There was none, you know, no access, no sale reports access. Same with the multiple companies operating within the one MYOB Exo, and a consolidation was very difficult. And the other one was a consolidated reporting required manual generation. Now we all love manual stuff, but we don't need to do it. So they're using the import of the CSV files from each entity and then trying to consolidate that. So those are some pretty major challenges for them. Now, after having a good discussion with their partners and stuff like that, they came up with a solution, and they had a look at different options. One of the ones they looked at was Focus, the Focus Analytics sales solution, and this is the one they ended up going with. The solution, so Focus Analytics, they provided training on the dashboards and scorecards, and also be able to provide custom reports and dashboards for the sales team, which is very, very cool. And you can set it up in such a way that the sales team, it's always live. The sales team can just log in and they see exactly what you want them to see, nothing more, nothing less. And you can adjust it and change it. Very, very cool stuff. So that's from the solution. Oh, look at that. The benefits, look at that, the benefits, thank you. So from the benefit perspective, so the sales team now has access to the dashboards and reports on customer sales activity. Very, very important to be able to see, you know, who's buying what, when they're buying it. And also from a from an ongoing perspective, as in, you know, being able to reach out to clients who maybe who you haven't talked to for a while or haven't bought anything. So being able to see that at the fingertips is fantastic. So improved reporting accuracy and speed for users, detailed sales reports for management. We all know what managers are like. They love their reports. They want to see what the KPIs are like. So this has been brilliant for them. There are some really significant time savings across the organization for this as well. And of course, you know, when it comes to reporting, these are such a big thing. So now we've got Brent as well as my colleague. You know, he's in Australia. So hi, Brent, and you've got the next one.
Cheers. Thanks for that, TJ. Yes, so thank you. So the next company we'd like to introduce is called Highgate. So the Highgate group, they are a leading supplier of food processing and packaging industry in Australia, and they provide packaging processing solutions for that, and take a lot of pride in their services and how they work with their clients and that. Now, one of the big issues that they were having with the challenges was they used both Exo and HubSpot. However, those systems are not talking to, they weren't talking to each other. And so what was finding for these guys was there was a lot of issues in terms of communication between the two. It was very cumbersome, and they also just simply had to manually enter information between the two solutions. So there was a lot of double up work, and which for them caused a lot of problems. There was concerns about the data itself. What they were entering in one, was it the correct, and is it the same in the other system itself? So it really did cause a couple of problems there for Highgate themselves, and trying to manage the two systems independently of each other. The other thing was, as you can see, they had, in terms of visibility with the pipeline, in terms of information that was going into HubSpot from a sales perspective and an opportunity, and then pushing that across back into XO. Once again, there wasn't much communication between the two systems. So from a reporting perspective, they really were trying to just sort of go between the two, and it really wasn't. It was causing a bit of difficulty. So ultimately, what happened, we looked at implementing with HubSpot and XO is something called the SyncIt tool. Now, SyncIt, what it did was we were able to set the system up so it would seamlessly communicate between the two solutions. So through the APIs, it was able to integrate. So we include, let's say, debtors, contacts, stock items, sales orders. All this information was now flowing seamlessly between the two solutions, and which, as you can see, which would definitely help in terms of reducing that manual data entry process and a lot of that additional work that was causing a lot of the slowdowns in between the communication. And if I wanted to take a little bit of a sidestep here and actually talk about SyncIt for those who aren't familiar with SyncIt. So SyncIt is a synchronization tool built for MYOB Exo. It transfers the data between your SQL database and also third-party applications in real time. So what that was doing, it was giving you a lot of flow of information between different systems. So it wasn't only HubSpot, it was Shopify, it was Magento, WooCommerce. So you talk about your e-commerce platforms, Salesforce, SimPro, and even some of your freight management solutions like Smart Freight, for example. So it really, what it could able to do is automate a lot of the processes, remove a lot of the data, the manual labor entries you had, and provided regular updates as it has a seamless integration between the two systems. And now jumping back to Highgate. So what there was from a solution perspective, what it did was it eliminated, should we look into the benefits now? So the benefits eliminated the inaccuracies. So once again, as you can see, the communication between the two systems enabled them to make sure that there was no more inaccuracies between the two systems. There's a reduction in the timing of that process. So it helped with the speed of that workload and enhanced the opportunity in pipeline management within the organization. So all in, it really reduced a lot and became very successful for them in managing their clients and in making more efficiencies within their processes with the sales team and their customers. I'll hand it back to TJ for the next client.
Oh, thanks, Brent. And so it's actually really interesting, hey, like that SyncIt one. I've always thought of it like I love my analogies, and the SyncIt one is like the tow ball, where your ERP system is the car. The SyncIt is a tow ball that kind of connects all these different things to it. So on a car, you've got a trailer, you've got a boat, if you've got a boat, or your bike rack, whatever it is, you need to connect it somehow. And I've always thought of SyncIt as like your tow ball from that. I just like the visual things. So Karen Lab is another one as well that has the SyncIt. So we'll get to that. So Karen Lab, a fun one, is they actually specialize in beauty and salon supplies, a bit of a wholesaler. And they specifically focus on waxing products. So they operate across Europe and across a variety of other places. They use a lot of websites to sell, both to business and business to consumer. And it's a very good business model. But of course, when you've got a variety of websites and a variety of areas where your information, your sales comes from, it becomes a bit of a challenge to get all that information together. So the integration for Exo to link each e-commerce store was quite challenging. So one of the solutions they had was to get WooCommerce, I get this one wrong every time, WooCommerce, to integrate the WooCommerce to MYOB via the Exo Kilimanjaro Consulting's SyncIt. And again, it's that tow ball, so connecting all those things together. This enables a seamless flow of information between the two. And Brent made a really good point before, like how it actually works together and how that data flow works. So important. You can have the best systems in the world, but if they're not talking to each other, it's kind of pointless. So broad integration includes sales orders, payments, allocations, sales order status, and stock availability. Again, that stock availability, very, very important, so that when someone clicks on your website, it's actually updated and goes, oh, yeah, we've got this stock, or no, we don't. So from a benefit perspective, I mean, this is quite significant, saving up to 20 hours a week just within the support office team. You can imagine what people can do with those 20 hours. It's a lot more coffees and walks around the office. So improved customer experience. Again, that stock control, being able to see it, and having that accurate information. And again, you know, they work globally, so it's so important to have this working together. The significant manual data entry process reduction. Again, you know, manual tasks. We don't, you know, we live in a day and age where manual tasks, we don't have to do as much. Computers and AI can do so much for us. So this is one of the ways that you can do it. What's the next slide? There we go. So now back over to Brent. Orium, another fun one. So take it away.
Cheers. Thanks, TJ. Yeah, Orium, well, they're quite an interesting company. Orium, so what they are, they're a market aggregator for concrete suppliers to construction companies, and what they did, ultimately what they're doing is they are sourcing from different concrete suppliers in different regions, depending on what the customs requests are, to make sure they're able to supply them with the best possible quality and price range, you know, for entire building product supply chain. So we're talking about steelworks, formworks, tools, machinery, fitments. You know, there's a whole bunch of different materials that they're trying to supply to concreters and the general construction industry. So they had some complexities within managing a broad range of client needs and the variant supply requirements. So there was also this breakdown in the overall process flow with core activities happening outside of their Exo system, for example. And so what that meant was it led to a large number of Excel spreadsheets, manual entries that were required to become very time consuming, and they also affected the growth of the business itself. So ultimately, in terms of a solution, they looked at something what Enterprise implemented it's called Framework, which is a low-code Exo customization toolkit, which developed bespoke modules with inside Exo, and in this case, it was the sales order management and scheduling for that. Now, naming it, I guess, the Orium, the aggregator, given that the complexity was designed specifically for Orium, this module effectively was fully integrated into Exo's debtors, the creditors, the contacts. We talk about stock and sales order, and also the email services. So where it was communicating with the customers by SMS messaging and email messaging through the entire sales process. It was also able to schedule and coordinate concrete delivery to the jobs on construction sites to the customers, and also based on optimum pricing and geography from multiple concrete producers and production plants, and deliver the most competitive pricing and efficient way possible. And so from that, as you can see, the efficiencies and the benefits of that was that the aggregator module enabled Orium to have detailed automated processes which provided some significant business efficiencies, such as you can see, the scheduling, coordination, communications, credit control process, plant and supply selections, invoicing, and also order follow-up and testing services. So it really was a really good solution for a client that had a real bespoke need and a very, very nuanced set of the market itself. And and that's all from our client success stories today. And on behalf of TJ and myself, I hope that you found some of these examples interesting and of some value. And if you have any further questions, I do encourage you to reach out to your Exo partner, your account managers, and have a chat with them. And that is all from us. So thank you, and back to you, Grant.